So I'm having a sip of water before we start the lesson. If you're wondering, this is the same cup I used yesterday. I did wash it. It is a clean cup. I did do dishes last night. So, hello everybody. Welcome to this live English lesson. If you are, let me just go to full display to make sure the sound is synchronized and make sure everything is working properly, and then we'll get started. It is a beautiful, beautiful day outside. As you can see, I'll go back to the outdoor shot for you. It's just a beautiful day today. It is minus 19 right now degrees Celsius. So even though I say it's a beautiful day, it is cold. As you can see, Jen is heading out to bring water for the chickens and our goats. You might be able to see Walter out there by the barn. But yes, a beautiful, crisp winter day. This is what I would call true winter. We're having a real winter here in Ontario, Canada. Yes, hello, welcome to this English lesson where you get to ask questions and I will try my best to answer them. You can ask questions about anything you want. And if it's something where I feel like answering it, if it's about me, I will answer it. If it's about the English language, I will definitely do my best to explain, to answer it and to explain and give you examples for everything. You can ask questions about English pronunciation, English usage. If you ask complex grammar questions, though, sometimes I do say, well, maybe I'll make a lesson about that later. Sometimes it's a little hard to explain some of the advanced grammar concepts in English. But yes, welcome to this Q&A English lesson. Here's how it works. If you have a question, there's a link in the chat. There's a link in the description below. Use that link to ask your question, and I will put it up here on the screen as soon as I get a chance. I'll give you another view of the beautiful outdoors as I have a sip of water and wait for a couple questions to pop in. I think there's one or two there already. And I also want to say hi to Aerosmith77, also known as Judith. Know that Torahiki, Freddie Wolf is here. Let me scroll back. We have Farouk, who just became a member. Welcome. And to those of you who became members overnight, welcome as well. This isn't a members only lesson, but there will be a members only section coming up. Good morning to Ismail as well, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Mr. Fisheri, Hafiaz is here. Very good to see some familiar faces and of course some new faces in the chat as well. So Freddie Wolf says, oh, minus 19 degrees Celsius. That means a 30-degree difference with my area. So Freddie earlier said it's 11 degrees in France, and it's minus 19 degrees Celsius here where I am. Let's see. Current conditions, minus 19 Celsius. High of minus 12 today. And we have two alerts, a cold alert and a blowing snow alert here in Canada. So we don't see the blowing snow yet, but I'm sure it will come. Okay, let's get going on this. Let me get the first question up on the screen. And of course, if you haven't submitted a question yet, please feel free to do that. There is a link again in the description below, and there's a link in the chat. And also in the chat, if we do this, let me get to my chat screen here and type link, then Nightbot will put the link in the chat as well. So please submit your questions there and I will start working on them. From Know That, hello Bob, do you have any small or big projects on your farm that you'd like to tackle this year? As always, a heartfelt thank you. Well, you can't quite see it because it's covered in snow, but there is a large pile of stone, or what we call gravel, that I actually bought at the end of 2024. And my plan in 2025 was to repair and improve parts of my driveway. And because I broke my collarbone, I never got to it. So that is one of the major projects. The second major project is to simply keep the property nicer and tidier, because we might have people. It's hard to describe. There might be a workshop on the farm. I'll explain at another time, because it most likely won't happen. But we just want to keep the property tidier Also because when we use the drone, when Jen uses the drone for her videos, the higher up you go, the more of the mess you see. So we would like to tidy things up to keep it clean. Second question here from Judith. Let me get a sip of water here. Hi, Bob. Have you ever thought of joining the military where you could imagine your place in the force? Thank you. So I did briefly, as I've mentioned before, I was interested in becoming like flying helicopters at one point, like as a teenager or like when I was 13 or 14. I think that was just a silly dream, like a kid having a silly dream. But I did briefly consider being in the Navy for some reason. I don't remember why. I think I was in our local city and there was a recruiting office and I just walked in to ask a few questions, but I don't think I was serious about joining. That wasn't my plan. I don't think I could be in the military. I don't know. If I think about it, when I was like 19 or 20, I was physically fit. I could probably have done the job well, but yeah, I just think, I don't know if that would be the life for me. I do like the outdoors. Like I do like living on my farm and I do like doing things outside. So I guess it would be sort of similar, but no, not really. So I'm going to say probably wouldn't. From Sakar. Hello, this is my first time watching you live. My question is, what are some unique words from your dialect? Thank you. So unique Canadian words would simply be ending sentences with a, like it's cold out there, eh? That would be a normal way to ask a question in English. Or you're going to need to bring your gloves, eh? If you go outside, you're going to need to bring your gloves, eh? And then the only other thing would be that I can think about would be how we pronounce certain words. When I say about, it has kind of a rounded O sound, about. It's almost two syllables, but we do say it quickly, like he was out and about. So that's all I can think of right now. Any unique words that are Canadian? Well, we talked about the phrase double double yesterday. If you go to a coffee shop in Canada, especially if you go to Tim Hortons, one of our major coffee shops, and order a double double, it means you want a coffee with 2 creams and 2 sugars in it. A very yummy, rich way to drink coffee, like rich as in savory and yummy and tasty. From Eamon. How can I improve my skills speaking? So one of the best things you can do to improve your speaking is to find an English speaking partner. There is a link in the description below to Preply. That is a place where you can find an English speaking partner. Like when you listen to a lot of music or you watch a lot of TV, it improves your listening. When you do a lot of reading, it improves your reading. And when you do a lot of writing, it improves your writing. So you do really need to just find time to practice the speaking. I would also say this, there are some new AI platforms. I think LinguaTalk is one where the AI conversation is just phenomenal. So I would say find a way to practice that conversation with a person or with AI. From Maro, hi teacher Bob, can you give me a piece of advice to learn using of prepositions in English? I often struggle with them. Thank you very much and have a good weekend. Yeah, in, on, at. It's hard. I'm just throwing out some prepositions. I did make a video at one point in time. I think starts with me in a tree. I'm just looking it up for a sec. I'll post it in the chat. Basically, what you really need to do, let me see here. I can't, oh, there it is. What you really need to do is just hear a lot of people using prepositions. Sorry, I'm doing 2 things at once here. English lesson about prepositions. This is an old one, but I still think it's good. Part of it is that you just need, let's go to questions here. Sorry, my son requested that he not be on video. So I'm just going to go off video for a moment as he leaves. You do need to hear them used a lot. and you need to read and see them used and then make note of it, like almost like active reading or active listening, where you pay close attention to how English speakers use those prepositions. And hopefully over time, you will become better suited to using them. So first comes understanding and recognizing, and then using them. Unso. Hello, Mr. Bob. Is there a video or lesson that means more to you than others, even if it's not the most popular one? Thanks, you're awesome. There is a video where I'm holding up like a cement block, and it's a video on phrasal verbs. That was the first video that did really well. I'm just going to look it up for a sec as well. I don't mean to self-promote so much. But this video, it's a good question. This video is very, very special to me. It has 2.2 million views right now. Let me just get the link here. Sorry, I'm a little slow. Phrasal verbs. Bob's favorite video. Well, it's not my favorite video, but it is special to me. So the question is there a video or lesson that means more to you than others? I was on a school trip and I looked at my phone, and that video was getting like 100 views an hour, and then 200 views an hour, and then 1,000 views an hour, and then 4,000. I didn't realize there were so many people in the world learning English. And I was super excited that day. It was kind of hard because I was on a field trip, so I could only see it on my phone, which way back in 2019 wasn't the greatest phone for that kind of, like, for looking at stats and data. But I would say that is one of my best memories as a YouTuber, when things started to take off. So Christian, I don't know, this is way off topic, but I'm suffering from depression and anxiety right now. So I'm trying to get the help that I need. So please pray for me. So I'm glad to hear that you are trying to find the help that you need. I think when you enter a point in life where you recognize that you need help because life is feeling a little bit difficult, you do need to find someone to get help, like professional help. So Christian, I really, really hope that it goes well for you. I hope that you find someone who can help you through this part of your life. And I just want to encourage you to speak the truth and kind of figure out why you're feeling this way and do whatever the professional says to help you feel better. From Ismail. I'm going to have a sip of water. We'll pause for a sec. That was a pretty serious question. So here we go. Ismail, hi, Bob. Hope you're doing well. Have you changed your chair? The one behind you. So here we go. I was going to make the title of this lesson, I'm retiring, and then a whole bunch of dots, my chair. So yesterday, this chair was extra creaky and squeaky during the live stream. Yesterday, we did a live stream on fun and quirky idioms. And honestly, this chair, every time I moved, it creaked. So right now I'm sitting on, you can't quite see it, like an old kitchen chair, And I think the time has come for that chair to be retired. That chair must be 50 years old, 45 or 50 years old, because that was the chair that my mom and dad used in their office when they lived here many, many years ago. So honestly, it's probably from 1960 or 1970 even. I haven't tried to find the date. But yes, a very, very old chair. I'll post a picture on the community tab later because one of my kids went on a field trip to a museum, and then a chair like mine was in the museum. That's how old it was. Anyways, today, one of my jobs today is to hopefully find a new chair. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Next question here. We have Judith. Hi, Bob. Have you ever eaten a Hungarian donut with apricot jam? Thank you. I have not. But the closest thing that I can think of is there's a donut in Canada that I can't find anymore, but it was a donut filled with jam with maple icing on top. So I don't know why your donut question reminded me of that, but that would be a very, very yummy donut. Let me get a sip of water here, folks, and I'll give you a little view of the great outdoors. If you're wondering why I've said the great outdoors, whenever it looks really, really beautiful outside, I tend to say the great outdoors. It's a common English phrase to describe how beautiful nature is sometimes. Okay, let's see here. From Junior, let's get this on the screen. Hi, I can hear and understand English. Awesome. Many, many people have those skills, but I struggle to speak and write it. That is also something many, many people struggle to do. It's because I think it's very easy to spend time listening to English, and it's very easy to read English. Well, not easy, but it's easy to find things to watch. It's easy to find music to listen to. It's easy to find podcasts to listen to, and you can do it passively. You can do it while you're doing other things. So people do tend to do a lot of listening because it just fits with your life, right? You can do dishes and listen to my podcast. I have a podcast, but it's just these videos re-released, just so you know. If you go to Spotify and search for Bob the Canadian, you'll find me there. And even this will be on Spotify later. Anyways, so you can spend a lot of time easily getting lots of input, but you do need to practice your output. You do need to do some writing, and you need to do some speaking, and you need to do a lot of it to get really, really good at it. So Mr. Fischeri says, for he's a jolly good fellow, happy retirement, Mr. Chair. Yeah, if I find a comfortable chair today, the chair will be retired. Otherwise, it might take me a week or two. Ismail says, Bob, you should really take a photo of that old chair and hang it on your wall. I probably should. It has been in the live streams right here behind my back for years now. I think for 6 years at least, I use that chair. I'll have to check the archives and see. Okay, let me get to another question. Yeah, okay, this is a good one. This does happen sometimes. From Renan. Hello, Mr. Bob. I was in Niagara Falls last December, and I think I saw you at the Niagara Penn Center. That's a mall in a city close to me. Do you live in Ontario? Yes, I do. So this doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes when I go to a place like a mall or when I go to Niagara Falls, someone will come up and say, are you Bob? And you are welcome to do that if you ever see me in public. I had this happen at my gym where someone came up and said, are you Bob? I had this happen after going for a doctor's visit in another city when I was walking out. A lady said, are you Bob? And then she said she was an English teacher and she used my videos to help teach English. Yes, that probably was me. The only other possibility is it might be my brother who looks a little bit like me, enough that if you don't know us well, you might get us confused, although he has, something weird happened. We got an error. Then it said it reconnected, so we'll see. Oh, error. I think it will reconnect. Oh, I think it did reconnect. I had an error on the screen, and then it kind of skipped forward a bit. I said that my brother had a bigger beard than me, more hair, and he's actually taller and more muscular than I am. So, yeah, I think it's working. Okay, good. If everyone in the chat could just say it's working great or looks good now. Hafia says no sound though. Okay, I have sound, but it's all okay, says Freddie. There was a little glitch, but everything is fine now. Mr. Fischeri might have to maybe reload. Okay. I'll just keep an eye on that for a little bit and we'll move on with the questions. Do you live in Ontario? Yes, I live in Ontario, Canada. That is correct. Okay, next question is from Unsel. Let's get that on the screen. There's a delay with the audio. Other people say normal. So the audio is weird. Try reloading or refreshing the page. For me, everything is working fine, and it sounds like for some other people it's working fine. Some people say no sound at all. And Fischeri says, oh, there's sound now after I reloaded. Phew. There we go. Okay, so it sounds like if you don't have audio, you might need to reload. If you don't have audio, you might have to reload the screen or reload the live stream or hit refresh. We'll see. Everything is working, says Freddie. Okay. Unsel says, are there certain topics you especially enjoy working on or learning about because they make you feel good? Thanks. When it comes to teaching English, I really enjoy making lessons where I explain weird things that we say, or things that even just sound weird when we say it. As many of you know, I talked before about how I was tutoring someone in English many, many years ago, and they wanted to know what the word, what you gonna do, what that word was, what you gonna do. And it's actually the sentence, what are you going to do? But in English, we say, what you gonna do? And if you ever watched the TV series Cops, that's where this person thought they heard this word. Bad boys, what you gonna do? It does sound like one word, but it is actually, what are you going to do? So what do I enjoy the best about English? I love the weird, quirky things that I hear, and then when I can make a lesson about it. From Judith. Hi, Bob. Have you ever read books from David Baldacci? He is quite good. Thanks for the answer. I have seen books from this author. I have not read any books from this author. So I should probably go to the bookstore at some point and have a look at some of those books. I do like to go to bookstores still, even though I often buy my books and read them on my Kindle. I looked over there because my Kindle's laying over there. So, okay, let me do another check here. Yes, there we go. Nightbot's getting a little, I should check the timings there. I feel like all the timings must have lined up together for Nightbot to post so much at once. Okay, let me get another question. The questions are piling up. Okay, from Amin. Hello, Bob. I am from Mauritania. Or Mauritius. I don't know how to say it. I want you to answer me. I take one channel like you and focus with you to improve my skills, listening and speaking, or take lots of channels. You should watch other channels. This is not a great thing for a YouTuber to tell people to do, but you should be watching other YouTube channels as well as mine to learn English. You should find channels that explain the things you need explained. I can't explain everything. And you should also get used to listening to different voices speak English. In addition, you should be watching regular YouTube videos as well. Like if you like rockets, watch YouTube videos about rockets. If you like nature, watch English YouTube videos about nature. I put out a lot of content. It can be hard to keep up, but I do highly recommend that you also watch other English YouTubers, English teachers on YouTube. From 10, I have one question for you. How can I improve my English skills for the IGCSE and how to practice speaking? So my guess is that the IGCSE, I'm guessing that's a test, the International General Certificate of Secondary Education, an English language qualification for students. Okay, there you go. So here's what I would do. If you are preparing for any kind of English test, I would find a tutor, someone who can coach you, who specifically knows how to help you prepare for that test. If you go to a website like Preply, there's a link in the description below if you scroll down far enough, and you search for a tutor who specializes in helping people prepare for that test, that's who I would hire. And then I would follow all of their recommendations for how to practice. In the chat, Hafiz says American English with Brent might pop up. Yes, if you were looking for another good, solid English teacher, by the way, solid means like awesome, reliable, and all of those things, check out Brent's channel, American English with Brent. In fact, give me a moment here. Let's see what I can do. Whoa. Hi. Computer has a mind of its own. Maybe that's why. American English with Brent. There he is. There's his channel. Let me copy the link. Here is Brent's channel. There you go. If you want to learn English, maybe from a more American perspective, that would be a good place to go. Yes, find someone who specializes. Back to Tan's question. Judith, hi Bob. Is it correct? Thanks for the live stream, or is it better to say thank you? Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the live stream is a perfectly good thing to say at the end of this lesson. Absolutely. From Freddie. Bob, I recently learned the meaning of the name Quebec City in the language from the natives of Canada. It means where the river narrows. Did you know that? I did not know that. I should know that. I lived in Quebec City for an entire winter once. I moved to Quebec City one year in the end of August, beginning of September. And I came home sometime, I think I came home in May. I was there for 8 or 9 months. I can't remember, almost 10 months. It was very enjoyable. It looked a lot like this all the time. So if you live in Quebec City, it's usually just cold and snowy all the time. From Javier, let's see. Javier says, hi, Bob. Good morning. Is the English you teach, Canadian English, close to the American English? Are some of your expressions only used in Canada and not in the USA? So I always say it like this. I live 45 minutes from the American border. Most Canadians live within an hour or 2 hours drive from the Canadian border, or from the American-Canadian border. That means growing up, almost all of the television I watched was American television. So if I put an antenna on my roof, I can get 7 stations, and 5 of them are from Buffalo, New York. So I think many Canadians actually speak with a very similar accent to what Americans have. And I always use this as the example. I went to visit Brent from American English with Brent a year and a half ago, and I hung out with Brent and his family and his brother and his sister-in-law. We for the 4th of July, we were all at his brother's place, and they could understand 100% of what I said, and I could understand 100% of what they said. There was no language barrier at all. And anything that I maybe said with a little bit of a Canadian accent, I think they wouldn't have noticed after an hour or two of just talking. So they're very, very close. There might be the odd phrases or pronunciations that are a little bit different. Unsel, do you ever get the chance to watch your own live streams afterward? No, I do edit the Friday one. So the lesson from yesterday, I will sit down and edit it later today because I like to make it shorter. I remove all of the question portions and then I put it up for everyone to watch. It usually ends up being 20 to 30 minutes, a bit shorter. So I do see a little bit, but I don't routinely sit and watch it. And then my Tuesday lessons, the ones that are 6 to 10 minutes long, I end up watching them 4 times before it gets uploaded. You know, once to preview it, once to check to make sure the subtitles are correct. So yes. Hey, welcome as a member, French B2 Go Go Go. Very cool. By the way, today, it's almost 10:30, isn't it? I'm going to give out 10 memberships today. So stick around for that. In about 3 minutes, I'm going to give away 10 memberships. Did I say 10? Yes, I said 10. Let me give you guys a view of the outdoors while I get the next question on the screen. From Naif. Hello, Bob. I'm Naif from Saudi Arabia. What's the best way to improve writing skills? By practicing them. You can leave comments on YouTube videos. You can find an English pen pal and send emails back and forth. But you do really need to practice it. And I would say the third way now would be using AI. Practice your writing using AI and ask the AI to correct you. So have a conversation with the AI and then have it correct you. Janius has also joined as a member. Welcome. By the way, members get their name in green, a crown, an extra video on Wednesdays, and a lesson plan on Mondays for the week that they can work through. Let's see here. From Tina, and then we'll go to members only chat. Hello, could you pronounce these things? Lucas's Garden and Lucas's Garden. I believe they are both right, aren't they? So it depends on how strict you follow the rules, but I would read both of those without thinking twice. But I believe if a word ends in S, you're just supposed to put an apostrophe. But I would read them both the same. Okay, let's go to members only chat. Let me find my button for that. And I am going to give away in just a moment. There we go. Members save. Okay, so here we go. I'm not sure what you're seeing or hearing, but I am going to click the button. I'm going to do membership gifting, and I'm going to do 10 memberships. Here they come. In just a moment, you've probably already seen this because the chat runs at a different speed than the rest of everything. So we're in members only mode. I do first of all want to thank all of you who are members. You are awesome people. Thank you for supporting the channel. You help me buy things like toolboxes to keep my equipment in, drones, a drone to fly and to make videos, a new tripod, probably a new chair. I do still have a computer fund going, but I haven't bought one yet. Let me read off the names though. So here we go. Taku-chan has gotten a free membership. 12 Danny, Popo, Mikiaz, Chao Yan, Samuel Abhe, Fas, Suma, 10. 10, yes. 10. So 10. If you go to the posts or community section of this YouTube channel, you will now see all of the members only content. And you are free to watch the Wednesdays with Bob videos and to check out the Monday lesson plan week at a glance that comes out, and your name will be in green for 30 days during live lessons. So welcome. Okay, let me make sure when we went to members mode that I didn't miss anybody. Some conversations going on there. There we go. Know that. Hi, Bob. What are you up to today or tomorrow? One sec. I'm going to go to... Whoa, I almost played the outro there. We're not done yet. Sorry, I had to cough, so I went to mute. Know that says, hey, Bob, what are you up to today or tomorrow? Do you have anything special planned, or are you just enjoying a more relaxed weekend? Thanks a lot, sir. Not so much relaxed. I do want to go and look for a new chair. I do have to go to the grocery store today. I do have to clean the driveway. As I mentioned in a members video, we are waiting for a delivery of propane. That's what we use to heat our house. And it hasn't come yet. So I have to really keep the driveway clean so that when that truck comes on Monday or Tuesday, we're ready. And I think we're going to watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. I'm not that interested in the game, but I do like watching the funny Super Bowl commercials. So I think that's kind of the weekend in a nutshell. Let's see here. Ismail, Bob, aside from the learning tips you share, I've noticed that even while you're talking, as soon as your eyes move to the monitor, your face shows you've already read and processed the text. The question is, how do you manage to process so much so fast? So I blame, okay. I think part of it is related to the fact that my mom was a librarian, and our mom thought it was very important that we read books for fun. So as a young child, my mom taught me to read and taught my brothers and sisters to read almost the same time we were learning to read at school. She thought it was very important. So I think reading for me is something I've done a lot. And you have to also remember that I am a classroom teacher. And just as a carpenter can bang a nail in with 2 hits, I have been in classrooms managing people and paper and chalkboards and whiteboards and projectors for almost 28 years now. been a long time. And I think some of that helps me do these live streams as well. And then there is a bit of, I think the questions aren't super long. So I don't think I'm processing it that fast. Plus, I've done these live streams as well for a while. I wonder if I was a lot slower at the beginning. Okay, let's see here. Annie says, hello, Bob. Thank you for the lesson. You're welcome. Mr. Fishery says, are you watching A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Bob? It's so good. How is the Star Trek new TV show? Live long and prosper. I stopped watching Star Trek and I've been watching A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So I've watched the first 3 episodes. I will be watching episode 4 pretty soon. I also watched a British crime series called Steel, Steal. I think I'm going to sneeze, everybody. Okay, I'll be... I'm back. I don't know what that looks like for you guys. I'm going to watch myself mute the screen. Oh, that's what it looks like. See, now I'm processing really slow. Okay. I watched, it's about a man and a woman who work at an investment bank and then money gets stolen. That's as much as I will tell you about. Okay, let's see here. From Know That. Always, as always, the generous and exceptional Bob with the heart of gold. Oh, the membership giveaway. Yes, I guess so. I just like it to be fun. It's fun for me. I wish I had a wheel. I wish a wheel would spin on the screen with names on it. And then when it stops, that person gets a membership. That would be more fun. Know That says, by the way, how was your Friday? I hope you had a hunky-dory day. I did. So at school, during the day, there was a basketball tournament at our school. And so I was able to, well, I didn't get to watch our team, but I got to watch a little bit of basketball. It was fun. Bridget, are you going to watch the Winter Olympics too? Yes, in French class. This week, we hope to watch some of the Olympics every day, about 10 or 20 minutes, and listen to the French commentary. That should be fun. Know That says, are there still snowmobiles whizzing across the river, Bob? Yes. I guess there are more on the weekends, right? Yes, definitely. So some people who live on the river complain because there are so many snowmobiles, they don't like the noise. But I don't mind. I think it's just people having fun. Also, a couple of years ago, we had new windows put in our house, and so it doesn't let as much sound come through. Achu says Hafiz, looks like that. Know That says, I recently came across the expression to tap into something. Could you explain its meaning and give a few examples of how it's used? Thanks, Bob. So the main use I would think of is if the government said, we're giving away free money for flower farmers, I would want Jen to tap into that program. So I would want her to apply. I would want her to try and get some of that free money. Whoa, what's happening in the chat now? Ismail has sent 10 memberships. So teacher Socorro, Chikapulu Manida, Cactus GJ, GIG, Alex, Lian Jukas, Mahmood, and Katusa. So 10 more memberships. So 20 new members today, plus I think 5 overnight. That's pretty cool. Anyways, if you just got a free membership from Ismail, you should say thank you. And I will say thank you to Ismail. And you now have access to all the members only content on the community page. Are there more snowmobiles on the weekends? Yes. I don't mind. I don't actually hear them. So it's pretty nice. I think when we had older windows, I did. Tap into something. Yes. Gesundheit. I think I answered that, right? To tap into something. Know That. I hope that made sense. To want to become part of something. Ismail, it seems to me that you have a powerful brain. Thanks for answering my question, Bob. I will just say this. I work in a profession where I have to use my brain, and I think that helps. You know how I'm always like saying repetition helps you learn English, consistency helps you learn English. It kind of works in everything you do in life. If you were to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Let's think about driving a car. When you first drive a car, you use all your brain and you're nervous. And then after 30 years, you can drive to work and not even remember driving there because you're so good at it. So I don't think it's just my brain. I just think the human brain is pretty cool. Freddie Wolf says, Bob, are you going to watch many sports from the Olympics? I think that Canada will win many awards according to so many competitors. You're the biggest teams for sure, over 200 athletes. We do like the Winter Olympics as Canadians. When it looks like this outside, you could understand maybe why we produce a lot of good winter athletes, similar to the Northern European countries. But we'll have to see how it goes. Hafiez says, hello there. Congratulations getting the memberships. And Taku-chan says hello. So a new member saying hello in the chat. Very, very cool. Hey, I'm going to throw a question up on the screen. I'm going to turn members only chat off in a sec. So this is a great one. Okay. Haydar says, good morning, Bob. Have you ever come across idioms that you didn't know? If so, what did you do to understand them and continue the conversation? Thanks. So thanks a million. A little correction there. Usually you understand them in context and you can figure it out because you already know what you're talking about. But here's the funny thing. So my lesson from yesterday, this lesson, I think it had 30 idioms in it. So on my own, I had 24 idioms, 25 idioms, but I like to have about 30, okay? That makes a good lesson. So I took the ones I had, I put the 25 I had, and I put them into ChatGPT and said, can you give me 5 more common English idioms? And honestly, I think it made some up. Like it gave me some more idioms and half of them I'd never heard before. So I don't know how much I trust AI. It is a very handy tool for like what I just described. If you have 10 ideas and you need 3 more or 4 more, but yeah, there were some idioms there that I hadn't heard before. So usually in context though, you can. Antonia. Hi, Bob. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that you study French. Do you see any differences between English and French? Thanks for your work. I think le français est plus logique. I think French is more logical. I do struggle. J'ai du difficulté avec le et la. I have difficulty with le and la, masculine and feminine. But overall, I find English is a bit chaotic, and I'm very happy to be a native speaker. And I find French, one of the reasons I enjoyed learning it was because it was so logical. Avec les conjugations, le vocabulaire, I don't know, to me, the part of my brain that likes logical things also likes French. So to all of you French speakers out there, thank you for having a very logical language. Okay, back to the chat. Freddie Wolf says, amid all the Olympic sports, what are your favorite ones? Oh, I just like hockey. It's fun to watch the hockey games, the guys and girls. I like both of them. BNB says, sir, I have a few questions regarding grammar. Can I mail you personally? I won't answer. I get too much mail. It just, yeah. I think you're better off finding a personal tutor. That would be very helpful. I can make a lot of English lessons, and sometimes I'm good at answering comments, but I am not the right person to send an email to because I will be honest, I simply don't have the time to answer. So sorry about that. Bridget says, the first gold medal went to the Swiss today in downhill skiing men. Congratulations. No, that says, I think I've got it, Bob. I mean the phrase. If not, I'll watch the replay or ask you again at some point. Thanks for the explanation. No problem. Ismail, Bob, I know family means a lot to you, but when you and Jen imagine the house eventually being quieter, what are you most looking forward to as a couple? Thanks a lot. You know, it's pretty standard. I think we're going to look forward to having our kids over and feeding them, hanging out with them. But also I think we might start to travel at some point. We really have not traveled much in life. So I think we might have the freedom to be able to do that. Let's see here. French says, hello, everyone. I'm a new member here. I'm so happy to learn English together with Bob. Well, welcome. And Bridget, Mr. Fishery says, you asked about my bucket list. Oh, just a little conversation. Hey, I'm going to turn off members only chat. Give me a second here to do that. Where am I going? Subscribers. There we go. So we should now be back in just, if you are subscribed, you may ask questions mode. Let me do a check to make sure everything's working right still. There we go. Iburak says, hey, Bob. And Freddie says, there was a little freeze, but all is okay. Okay, good. Okay, let me get back to my questions stream. Yeah, it says that there were some dropped frames, but it does also look like everything is working. Thanks, Freddie, for the feedback there. Okay, well, we just soldier on. Keep on going. There's a new, maybe a new phrase for you. I think I taught it once on my second channel. Okay. From Sakar. Hello, Sir Bob. What is your favorite Canadian TV series? So I am not a very good Canadian because I don't really enjoy Canadian television very much. I don't watch a lot of Canadian television. There was a show a few years ago called The Rick Mercer Report, where a celebrity named Rick Mercer would go across Canada and interview everyday people. And I really enjoyed that. But right now, there isn't a single Canadian show that I watch. Isn't that awful? That's bad, eh? I should be a better English citizen. Let's see here from Ario. Oh, hi, Ario. Hello, Mr. Bob. How are you? I hope you are in good shape. You mentioned AI earlier. I love using it for English conversation, but for some reason, Gemini is not that good. Yeah, you know, there are better platforms probably. I should do a video at some point on using AI to learn English. I never really get to it, but I should. Good morning, Bob from Mazakin. May I ask you 3 questions? Do native speaker children have to study English in school? 2, if so, how do they study it? So at my school, you take English class. In English class, you do study English grammar. You learn about verbs and adverbs and subjects and nouns and all of the things that make up a sentence. You also learn how to write a good sentence, how to write a good paragraph, how to write an entire essay. So you probably spend more time learning to write well. That's what you would learn in an English class as a native speaker. And then number 3, what are the differences between how native speakers study English and how non-native speakers, English speakers study it? Much love. I really appreciate your help. At my school, if you are a native English speaker and you take grade 11 English, you're primarily learning how to write and you're learning about English grammar. If you are an international student and you are taking English, you are primarily learning how to read, write, listen for understanding, and speak English. So it's more learning English as an additional language. So it's somewhat different. From Unsel, do you feel that walking creates space for reflection or deeper thinking for you? And have you ever had an interesting idea or worked through a problem while walking? Almost all, I would say 80% of my English lessons, the ideas that I use come from when I am going for a walk. So I do have better ideas in the summer because I'm outside walking more. But yes, I think walking is a great way to do it. Right now, when I walk on a treadmill and I watch YouTube videos. That is not a good way to have new ideas. From Tatiana, your skills to teach English in a very simple way is unbelievable. Is teaching what you really do for a living? Yes. I mean, did you get special education or is it just a gift? I went to school and I got a degree to become a high school teacher. So I am certified to teach grade 9 through 12 French. And I also teach computers, and I'm not directly certified, but I have life experience and a teaching certificate. So I am able to teach things like computers and business. So yes, I've been doing it for almost 30 years now. I used to say 20 years, but that was 9 years ago when I just started YouTube. So time does go by. Freddie Frenchie. Bob, is there a difference between take away and take down? Can we use them interchangeably? Thanks, Bob. Here's how I would use them. When I put the garbage at the road, the garbage truck will take away the garbage. Okay. If a student cheats on a test, I will take away points on the test. Takedown, though, I would almost always use when there is something that needs to be disassembled. So, for instance, if you set up a tent and go camping, at the end of the weekend, you need to take down the tent. That's how I would use that phrase. So I am getting another error. Interesting. I'm glad this is just happening during a Q&A and not during a like an official Friday lesson. Yeah, it seems to be working still. Let me know in the chat if everything is working well still. Let's see here. From Wilder, what are the differences between ESL, English as a Second Language courses in Canada, and ESL courses in the United States? I can't thank you enough. I would imagine they are very, very similar, but it might be a slight difference as to what test you are preparing to take. So there might be the Canadian English, there's a Canadian English test, there's the IELTS test, there's the TOEFL test. I'm just pronouncing these the way I hear students say them. So the course of instruction might be different depending on what test you are trying to pass at the end of it. Unsel, how do you decide when a topic is worth turning into a full lesson? Thanks. Let's say I think of a phrase or I hear a phrase in my daily life that I think, oh, I should do a lesson on phrases like that. If I can immediately think of 4 or 5 more phrases that match that category, I'm on my way to making a lesson about it. A good example would be talking about rich people in English. So I did an English lesson recently. Let me pull up the script for that one. It's not really a script. It's more of a bullet list. So basically, I'm going to open the file for myself. So basically, I heard someone use the phrase, oh, which one was it? My mother-in-law said, oh, they're doing well for themselves, I think. And then I thought, well, we say people are well, oh, she used the phrase well-to-do. They're really well-to-do. And that's kind of an older phrase. But then I thought, well, we have well-off, loaded, well-to-do, doing well for themselves. I thought of 4 very quickly. And then I kind of did a bit of research and let it sit for a day. And then I thought of a few more and finally came up with 8. So that's basically it. If I can think of at least 6 things, 8 to 10 is better, but at least 6 things on one common topic, then I will make a lesson about that. From Murajan. Hi, Bob. I'm from Uzbekistan, currently in the UAE. My question is memory. New sentence and correct my grammar while I'm speaking. I think the second letter is supposed to be a P. The best way to get better at speaking is to speak in a situation where mistakes are not stressful. And for me, there's only 2 ways to do that. If you're having a conversation with a live speaking partner in English who you are paying to help you learn to talk in English, or if you are talking to some kind of AI. The more practice you do in a safe way where you're not worried about making mistakes, the easier it will be for you to have an English conversation when you are stressed. Know that says you were briefly slowed down, but now it's working smoothly again. Yeah, and honestly, I think the problem is at YouTube's end, because everything at my end says it's working perfectly. I have too many tabs open now. Okay, maybe that's the problem. I have too many tabs open on Chrome. Let's see. I'm going to try to speed up a bit. From Quinoa, hi, how's it going, Bob? Do you offer in-person classes in Canada? I do not. I'm very grateful. Thank you. So here is the reason why I don't do that. During the pandemic, I had to teach my normal classes online and I didn't enjoy it. Okay. I just did not enjoy it. I like making videos. I like doing live streams. I don't really like teaching on Zoom. And also, if I was to do in-person classes, I think I kind of like, I already do that, but I teach different subjects. So I don't know. I have a nice job and I don't want to leave it. Maybe that's the reason why. From Freddie Wolf in the chat, a super chat. Thank you very much, Freddie Wolf. Bob, here is a little something for you. Thanks a lot. You're doing a great job. Au fait, tout fonctionne parfaitement à ce point. Ne t'inquiète pas. Merci beaucoup. That's awesome. Everything's working, so that's good. Let me get a question on the screen from Deirdre. Deirdre. Everything okay, Bob? What do you think is the most important thing to do when studying English to become fluent in listening and speaking first? Many thanks. Well, don't try to become fluent in listening and speaking first. That would be my advice. Make sure, I'm very, very old-fashioned. I think you need to practice reading, writing, listening, speaking. Get a grammar book that's written in your own language that explains English grammar, and just try to learn as much vocabulary as you can. Hit it on all fronts, and get an English speaking partner sooner than later. SR Games says, hello teacher, in response to Antonio's question, do all Canadians speak French? Thanks. Non, pas du tout. C'est seulement les personnes qui habitent à Québec et les autres à l'est. Yeah, like Eastern Canada, in some provinces, some people do. The province of Quebec is a French-speaking province. In Ontario, in Eastern Ontario, there are large French-speaking communities. Mais les gens comme moi, c'est rare d'avoir une personne qui parle français comme moi qui habite près de moi. Yeah, it's rare to find a French-speaking person who lives close to me. So it's hard for me to find people to talk to as well. I think I'm going to cough. Let's see. Again, I'm not sick, but the air is very dry in the winter. So the longer winter goes, the more people have like just a scratchy, dry throat. Okay, here we go. Ansaf, what's your favorite part of a day, YouTube or something like that? You know, I like teaching. So just as some people like running a business, some people like building things, some people like driving a truck, some people like being a doctor. I would never be a doctor. I like teaching. And so in the morning, I work on YouTube. I create English lessons for YouTube. And then in the afternoon, I get to teach in a classroom. For the most part, I like all of it. But as with any job, sometimes it can get very, very difficult. Moreau, what do you think is the best way to improve English pronunciation? Ta prononciation français, c'est très bien. Merci beaucoup. Your French pronunciation is very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I have to work on my French a bit. I have not spoken French for a long time, but the best way to improve English pronunciation, two ways. One is shadowing. Listen to a video or audio, hit pause, say what that person is saying, and then at times record yourself to listen to it. And then the second way would be to have either a person or AI correct your pronunciation after you say things. French is so beautiful to hear and so hard to speak. Oui, c'est vrai. Mr. Fischeri, is the term French immersion? I heard about that term on a talk show once. Jodie Foster is fluent in French since she did French immersion. So French immersion in Canada, if you live in an English-speaking household, like if your family speaks English, you can go to French immersion school. There are French immersion schools close to me, and then you will learn in French during the day, and you will speak English at night. Bridget, could you please explain when to use the word though? It's so hard though to do that. That's where I always say I think I would need to do a whole lesson because there's a few funny, weird little uses of it. So I'm going to skip that question. Here we go from Aaron. Hi, Bob. What do you think about majoring in communication studies at a university in the US or Canada for non-native English speakers? And continue. Is communication studies major too difficult for non-native English speakers? Much love. Let me see, is the next one? No, that's it. So here's what I've noticed a lot of international students will do. They will come to Canada. They will do a couple years of high school and then maybe a degree at university like communication studies. And then they will return to their native country and they'll get a job where speaking English and being able to communicate with people around the world is very important. In that situation, I think a communication studies major for a non-native English speaker is very, very valuable. If you're from Brazil and you come to Canada and you learn English, you get a communication studies degree, you could return to Brazil and probably get a very good job at an import-export company or in government in a place where that, and that would just be a very valuable degree to have. Let's see here. Eduardo, do you notice any climate changes in your region today compared to how it was in your childhood? Yes, in Portuguese, Brazil is spelled with an S. Yes. That's hard to say. We have had a lot of very mild winters, but this winter in particular has been more like how I remember winter as a child. So I'm not 100% sure. What I can say is that growing flowers and growing crops, the last frost date in the spring has been moving backwards for the last couple decades, a day or two. Let's see. I just seen a cat in front of your house. Yes, there are cats here. No, that says, yeah, though is a tricky word. It took me a long time to roughly know when and where to use it, or rather at which point, yes. And then French B2 says, Bob, do you suggest the same way to learn French and English? Reading, writing, listening, speaking? Yes. You know, and part of it just comes down to spending the time doing it. I do know people who are trying to learn English where they're frustrated because they aren't making progress, but they're only studying for about an hour a week. You really need to make it part of your life. Like, if you're going to learn English, you should only listen to English music at least 5 days a week. You should definitely read the news in English and watch the news in English. You should do as many things in English as possible. And I find that some people, they go to one night class a week and then they're frustrated that their English isn't improving. You do need to really, really work at this. From Sarsha. Good morning, Bob. Do you think you will offer Zoom English classes in the future? Thanks a ton. Maybe someday when I'm retired, but I'm not planning on doing it any time soon. Last question from Sean. Hey, Bob, do you watch and enjoy American comedy, TV shows, TV series, movies, or stand-up performances? Thanks. I really enjoy British television and French television from France. Although Quebec does make some good French television too. I'm not a huge fan. Like, an American TV show has to be really well made for me to watch it. Hafia says, Mr. Fishery, repetition, consistency, challenge yourself. Haha. Yes, the secret. Burak says, what are the secrets of a happy marriage? One of the secrets of a happy marriage is that I think just have respect for each other. And you need to find someone where you just enjoy each other's company, whether you're just sitting around reading a book at the same time or on a trip. Like, you want to be with someone who you just enjoy being with. So that's the big one. No, that says, thank you so much for the wonderful hour, Bob. Saturday live streams are always something special. Wishing you and your family a marvelous and restful weekend. You're very welcome. And with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Alahi does, though, ask what the temperature is. Let's do one last check here. It is minus 17 Celsius right now outside. Very, very cold. Let's give you a view of the outdoors as I sign out. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have the time, you should re-listen to this live stream. It will have subtitles in a few hours, AI generated. And it will also be on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and search for Bob the Canadian, you will find all my stuff there as well. So if you do just want to re-listen to it that way, give that a try. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to say bye and I'm going to hit the outro button.